When it comes to making a smoky top, it can be the easiest or the most frustrating thing to do. If you have tried to make one before, you know what I'm talking about. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Sewing with Damara. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a tube smoky top exactly as you can see it on your screen. If you're interested to know how to go about the making of this, keep on watching and let's get started. I already have my fabric here on fold, and to know how many inches to put your fabric on fold, what you need to do is to divide the biggest part of your upper body, which in my case is my bust, by 4. So my bust is 40 divided by 4, I have 10. Now you make sure to add extra 4.5 to 5 inches to that. I added 4.5 and that is why I have 14.5 here. Also, this is the thread that you'll be using to smoke your fabric. This is exactly what it looks like, and I got this pack for 800 naira. I ended up using just one of these threads, so about 1 or 2 of these threads should be enough for you. The first thing you need to do here is to come down from the top of your fabric by 1 inch and connect this with a straight line. Now this line is going to be serving as our guideline, okay? Now the next thing you need to take note of here is that this is a tube, more like an off-shoulder top, and you need to take out some inches away from your top. 5 to 5.5 inches should be okay. I'll be using 5.5 inches and I'm going to place it on my guideline there, and I'll be marking my shoulder to my bust point, which is 11.5 inch. Next is to mark your shoulder to your waistline. Mine is 17.5 inch. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side of my fabric and connect this with a straight line. The next thing you're going to mark here is the length of your top. Also placing my 5.5 inch on the guideline there, I'll be marking the length of my top. The length of my top is 21 inches. I'll be adding extra 1 inch for folding allowance, and I'll mark this at 22 inches. I'll just mark it on the other side and connect this with a straight line. To go over this again, make sure you take out some inches from your top, 5 or 5.5 inches, which I've placed on my guideline there. Then you mark your shoulder to your bust point, shoulder to waistline, and shoulder to top length. I hope that is clear. So I'll just be cutting out this side I won't be needing. Coming to this top line here, you need to take the measurement of what you have around your chest. I'll just be putting a pictorial representation on the screen of what I'm trying to explain. And while taking this measurement, make sure that it is firm, okay? And you'll be dividing whatever you get there by 4. Mine was 36 and divided by 4 I had 9. So I'm going to mark 9 here. Then you'll be adding extra 4.5 inches to that. You can also use 5 inches, okay? Now coming to the bust point here, when it comes to this point, this is a smoke top and it is going to stretch at the end of the day, and you need it to hold your bust firmly. Now instead of using the bust measurement, you're going to measure what you have on this top line here, and you'll be marking the same thing on your bust line. Coming to the waistline, I'm going to divide my waist measurement by 4, and I'll be adding my 4.5 for my smoke and my stitching allowance. Now I need you to take note of something. If you do not have a visibly tiny waist, please do not take your waist measurements on your waistline. What you will be doing is to measure out what you have on your bust point. Let's say for example, what you have on your bust point is 13 inches. You will take out 1 inch, and whatever you get is what you mark on your waistline. Coming to the length of the top, whatever you have on your waist, you are going to add 1 inch and mark it on the length. Now I decided to add extra ½ inch to each of these lines to make it 5 inches. I'll connect this with a straight line, and I'm going to proceed to cut this out. While cutting this, make sure you leave about 0.5 inch at this top here. After cutting this is what you should have. The front and the back is exactly the same, so we are going to use this to cut out the back piece. When you are done, the next thing we are going to do here is to finish up the upper and the lower part. We are just going to hem the upper and the lower part of our top. So I'm just going to quickly go to my machine and do that. You can see that I've finished the upper and the lower part of my top. The next thing we are going to do here is to get the smoke lines. From the top, we are going to come down by about 1 to 148. The reason why we are using this is because we want the upper part of the top to have a particular kind of design. Now connect this with a straight line. This is going to be more like your guidelines, because from this point now you can come down by about 0.5 inch. Now make sure that when you are marking this, you are marking this on the right side of your fabric, especially for beginners who don't really know how to sew on a straight line. Okay, either you make your chalk very faint or you get a fabric pen. Now the number one thing I need you to take note of is the closer your lines are, the more tight your top is going to be. You don't want to smoke it too close to each other because it's going to be really tight. So 0.5 to 0.6 inches is actually very okay. So you can see here that I've drawn my lines just to show you guys what it should look like, especially for beginners. This is what it should look like, but I did this on the wrong side of my fabric. I will be stitching on the right side, okay? Now get your thread. You can see how elastic it is, and you'll be getting your bobbin and your reeler. The bobbin you should use should not be the same bobbin you normally use to sew, okay? The reason is because it is believed that the thread might open your bobbin. I don't know, but I do not use the same bobbin that I use to sew normally. Now getting the reeler, you are going to use your hand to reel this thread. You can see how I'm doing that. While reeling this thread, make sure you don't drag it too much. The only dragging that should occur is because you are trying to roll this. You can see exactly how I'm doing that. Don't pull it too much, just a little is okay. After doing that, you're going to insert that into your bobbin and do the normal way you will normally insert your thread. Now let's go to the machine. The elastic thread is meant to be under, and then on top you have your normal thread. Don't forget, the elastic thread should be under and the normal thread should be on top. Another thing you need to take note of while making a smoky top is that this thing here should be on number 4. Mine here is on 3. I later switched it. I didn't get the video, but I need you to note that it should be on number 4, because the more tight the stitch is, the more tight your smoky top is going to be, and you don't need it to be too tight. If not, you'll not be able to wear it at all. Now making the first stitch, I'm going to come down from the top of my fabric by 1 inch, and like I said, is to get this kind of design in front of our top, on the upper part of our top. Now I'm going to stitch this down. Oopsie, I mistakenly stitched on my tape. Thank God that came out easily. Now you can see how the first stitch is. There's no much difference now, right? Now I'm going to make the second stitch, come down by about ½ inch and make a straight stitch all the way to the end. As I go, you will notice that the more stitches I make, the more tight the top becomes. So I won't bore you guys. I'm just going to let you watch how I'm doing this. So this is like 30 minutes later, and you can see what I have here. Top is coming together the more I smoke it, and at the top here you can see the design that it's given. That is why I said you should come down by about 1 inch to get this design. This is after another 30 to 40 minutes, so I'm just going to finish this up. After smoking this, you can see what it looks like. You also notice that it's kind of folding to the back. It's because of the elastic. It's nothing for you to panic about. This is where I made a little mistake. When I got to the waist area, I made my stitch very close to each other. It shouldn't be too close to each other, okay? And it made the waist to be very tiny, as you can see here. Thank God I carved a visibly tiny waist. If not, I wouldn't have been able to wear this top at all. So you need to avoid that while making yours, okay? Now the next thing you're going to do here is to place them right sides facing each other, and you're going to stitch these down using about ½ inch stitching allowance. After stitching this down, make sure that you overlock it if you have your overlocking machine, and give this a good press. And that's just it. That is how to go about the making of a smoky top. I hope this tutorial was really understandable. Make sure you subscribe and share this to family and friends who you think we need this. I'll see you guys in my next tutorial.